Hi, this is Charles Demler, Project Charles. Solution to global warming. Okay, first off, my first solution: take 200 billion tons of CO2. 200 billion tons of CO2. We emit 30 to 40. Anyhow, you stick that CO2 in seaweed. Yes, it's quite possible to put 200 billion tons of CO2 into seaweed. Bull kelp is one of the best at sequestering CO2. You don't have to have land to grow bull kelp. There are methods to grow bull kelp in the ocean, floating around anywhere. So take 200 billion tons of CO2, stick it in seaweed. That sequesters the CO2 into carbon. It's what makes the plants grow. Take that seaweed to the Arctic Circle and stick it on ice. When you have 30, 40 degrees temperature, when there is no sun, spray water over it. So you have seaweed, then you have ice, and you make more ice than it's going to melt in the next year. And you could take that from the ocean if you'd like. That's fine. Sure, there'll be a salty brine, and there will be an area where nothing will grow. Nothing's growing. Then you stick that, you just have a layer of seaweed on ice, and then you stick another layer the next year, and you stick another layer the next year, and you just make seaweed into permafrost. And you do that every year, and you'll have sequestered 200 billion tons of CO2. It's not that fucking hard. Now, I tried to give it away at the 2002 Environmental Law Conference. I had half of the world leaders say, yes, that'll work. And when I say half the world environmental leaders, I mean I watched a TV show later that year, and it had like 20 people on it, and half of the people I knew half of the people there. They visited me at the Public Information Environmental Law Conference. They saw my structure, and they saw my solution. They said it should work, and nothing happened. Then they go on this TV show and talk about how they're 100% against any form of solar geoengineering. It's like, what the hell? You want lame-ass pieces of shit that won't do nothing to get the job done? Well, I'm not that kind of guy. I have a solution. It's an actual solution. You should possibly do it. It just pisses me off that it's not being done. And I went to the Citizens Climate Lobby and asked to get it done. But they didn't do it. And they sit there and they come at me with, well, you've been acting on a solution for for 20 years now. Why haven't you gotten it done? And that came from one of my mom's friends who said that she was she was a friend of my mother. And now she was pissed off at me. And how I'm nothing because my mom said some shit. Now she's dead. I found out 2 years before she died that she lied to me about my solution to global warming, about helping me. Now, when I first moved up here on the basis of my mom helping me with my solution to global warming, I felt that, my mom could get it done. She's a brilliant environmentalist. She could help me get my solution done. But I had this, okay. And that gets into my first solution. I've got there's 5 solutions to global warming that I know of. The current one using solar radiation management that's going to spew a bunch of shit in the atmosphere to stop the long wave radiation from coming down to the earth, which is what makes plants grow. Yes, it's going to do that. And then it's going to scatter the rays, and they won't be as powerful, and they won't be as good as growing food. It's a stupid idea. It's only going to do like 40% of the problem, but that's what they're going with. I've notified Harvard of my new solution. Didn't get a word back. They don't care. I'm not a student there. You have to be a student at these universities or they won't think about helping you. I don't know why. I tabled 8 times at the oldest and largest environmental law conference in the world. All 8 times they stated it should work, and they've never helped me. Now my brother, he teaches at the oldest and largest environmental law conference in the world. And he hates me. He says I never helped him with his solution to global warming, so therefore he never helped me. And that's after 20 years being here. And he talked to my mom, and my mom listened to his advice. And according to my mom, she theorized that she should lie to me about my solution to global warming in order to keep me in Eugene, Oregon, because she wanted me to live here with her. I lost everything moving here. What did I do in San Diego? District elections. I was one of 7 people that changed the way everybody in the United States votes. Title V of the Clean Air Act. I didn't even know that I helped write it. Apparently, my mom, actually, she wrote it. It was a little San Diego law that she wrote. And then that was from all of her years of experience. For 6 years before that, I was going over the details of every single one. Every single communication she wrote, I actually typed it out. So I got to learn all about the environment. 6 years of me working as my mom's assistant. My mom, she wrote Title V of the Clean Air Act. So she was kind of a smart person in ways. Sure, she left the CO2 out of the air, out of the thing. But she wrote it. She didn't understand that charging the rich to give to the poor will cause more emissions. And the rich will just make more. It's kind of stupid. Title V of the Clean Air Act, to steal from the rich and to give to the poor, it should be thrown away. The whole environmental movement was just fucking crazy. They give money to the World Bank. The World Bank keeps it and only releases a set amount for like projects in countries that are not the United States of America. So like I can't get funding through the World Bank. That's fine. But the World Bank is money for like the Brazil. They give money to Brazil for all their great work with biofuel. Because of biofuel, they're cutting down more of the rainforest. Because the forest that the forest land that the land that they grow food on, they're able to produce fuel. And so they just grow fuel. And then they cut down the rainforest to get more land. It's kind of stupid that you're paying for that. You got individuals growing food around the country, growing like trees. They're out there to plant trees, and they make money, and then they spend it. But they grow the wrong kind of trees. Or they, and the amount of money that you pay them to grow these trees, they buy cars, they fly, they buy different things, all producing carbon. And the amount of carbon they sequester, it's not much. And these countries, they've devastated the countries so they don't grow trees and they don't grow food. We need to send them food, that's it. And send them the excess food. They whine about the weather or the climate and how it's bad because of climate change. No, it's bad because of mismanagement of resources and growing too much population. It's how civilizations grow and how civilizations they get around. But they destroy their land by cutting down 95% of all trees. Some areas haven't gotten that bad yet. But you can't do that and expect your population to grow without getting food elsewhere. So they ran out of food, and they need help, and we're letting them in. And I think that's crazy. Letting all these people, and half of them want to kill Jews, and half of they're going to kill Christians after they're done killing the Jews, and that's part of their religion. And religion is one of the most important things you have in your life. And if their religion dictates that they need to kill people to get to heaven and get their special place in heaven, kill them. I mean, that's what they feel. And you can't hold them responsible. I mean, the poor Muslims, they've been taught this. A lot of them are good people who think that, about the Muslim religion and everything else, and they'll just go on their merry way, and they won't have sex with a 13-year-old because they're okay with not having sex with a 13-year-old. But they don't stop the racists from having sex with a 13-year-old after they take over. When Muslims take over a country, they'll have sex with 13-year-old girls. They'll rape, women. They'll kill all the Jews, burn down all the churches. That's crazy. It's crazy that people would actually invite people in who, when they grow over 50% population, that they'll just rape all the women. You don't think about there are women getting raped all the time. A few of them don't, but I mean, if there's a guy who has a wife and he has 3 friends, and maybe you'll have 2 more wives. It talks about having sex with your wife with other people in Muslim countries or in Muslim areas. That's a fact. Why do I get on it? It's like the Lego thing. Legos, there's now the police department up there. They're all like a mafia because they'll do the bidding of the person in the video. They are like a mafia. And when you got Christians going around talking about how we have to be nice to the Muslims, sure, yeah, it's just like with the Nazis. You want to be nice to them, be good with the Nazis. Got to be nice with the Nazis. Damn Catholics. I mean, you go there and you're nice to them, and then you let them come into this country and you're nice to them. What's wrong with you? Don't you care? You got some fucking wimps in your office? You guys should be, on the front line, striking them. But no, you wait until they've taken over, and then you come down and have the crusades, and you kill all the Muslims, and you kill them all. Go to some country and you kill them all because some of them are Muslims, or they're mostly Muslims, and got to just get rid of them. That's what's going to happen, right? Or no, the Muslims are going to take over and they're going to kill all the Jews and all the Christians. I don't know. And then you've got, you wonder why the Crusades happened, and they came down here and they pushed back the Muslims, and then they gave the countries to these people, to their, and told them that they had to come down here and look after the Muslims. And that's why colonization happened. Nobody wanted to come down here and treat the Muslims badly. They needed to come down here and take over the Muslims so the Muslims wouldn't kill all the Jews and all the Christians and go up and kill them all again. There was a mess. So I don't know why they are talking about how these British assholes came down and colonized them over this practice. But yeah, they were colonized. And my first girlfriend was Jewish. And these Muslims came over, and my girlfriend was Jewish, my first girlfriend in high school. And then they talk about, when I hear people saying, kill the Jews, all these protests, and they talk about the genocide. Redefine genocide so that it fits to, you could say, it's genocide. The soccer team came to our town, and a bunch of the women fell in love with the soccer team, and then the soccer team hooked up and, or not, and maybe they took some wives home with them, whatever. But they'd call that genocide, and they'd be right, because the word has changed. You change the definition of the word genocide, and you accuse the Jews of genocide. God damn you to hell. And goddamn everybody that goes along with you and chooses this new definition of genocide, damn you to hell. It's when I grew up, it was something that people didn't do. People didn't take words and change the names of it. Now, genocide is a very particular word. It happens to go with the people of Nazi Germany when they killed all the Jews. We said, never again. And we labeled the word genocide for that reason. Because never again. And then you sit there and you use, you call Donald Trump Hitler, and you call the people in the Republican Party Nazis, and then you call white people Nazis, and then all white people are Nazis. Nazis were in Nazi Germany, and they killed the Jews. That's who the Nazis were. Don't redefine Nazis. Don't redefine genocide. And stick words to what they are. What can I say? Anyhow, so I'm having this problem. My girlfriend is Muslim, or not my girlfriend. But I know, and I just have to look at them and say, you're okay with people killing Nazis? You want to go to another country and where they killed Jews and are okay with, I don't want to go there. I don't want to grow up in a land where people, where, people treat you like shit, But I guess that's okay with the Jews. With the Muslims, and it's okay with the Catholics. Catholics are just fine with it. I tell the Catholics, I came up with my own religion, water crab. When the water crab dies, you die. and it gets into some things, but basically it's a scientific explanation for God. Okay? There is no Big Bang. Big Bang was done it was done by a pastor who wanted to introduce what he thought happened in creation. Same thing that happened in the Bible. God, Moses tells about how genocide, or how people got together in the Bible. And he says it was something that was written down by his fathers and fathers' fathers. He does not say it was given to him through God. What God does, what happened in the Bible, it does say that God likes birds multiplying in the sky. God likes water for fish to be in. God created animals for us to eat. And what have we done? We've caused an extinction event where we've lost we've lost 2/3 of all animals on Earth. We've lost 2/3. 2/3! These animals, they died. They starved to death. The Earth no longer supports them. I still remember the video of the little bird crawling towards me. Or he was crawling towards the cameraman. And the cameraman looked and he said, and I was like, feed him, feed him, feed him. But he didn't feed him. He let them go. I mean, he just let them die. But I mean, it was on a thing with, 500 birds all starving. That was the year that all those birds died around the around the ocean. They just died because there was so little seafood. Now it's like coral reefs. I'm afraid coral reefs are going to die. And I'm making this plea to everybody. Do my project so that fucking coral doesn't die. Here's a solution. Do it. Get it done. And nobody's doing it. And they're all sitting around jacking off. I don't know. But they got to get their shit together. I'm here alone, working on a solution to global warming, trying to get it started. And there's no help. Nobody's helping me. Not one soul is helping me. But I've had my first solution. NOAA and NASA said that it should work, but didn't help. It still gets to me. And I was expecting help from my mother because she said she'd help. And all of her friends were in agreement. And they were all lying to me because my mother wasn't trying to get me help. I don't know. Thanks, David. David only was against me and argued against me, and never mind. But it's not a joke. Everybody tells me it should work, and nobody's doing it. I don't know why. It's probably because I, dislike the Muslims, and with district elections, I got the way they vote. I helped get that changed, and that was a big mistake. I feel that was a big mistake because we shouldn't have all these people with all these different things going around getting elected, and they don't know what the crap they're doing. Yeah. Anyhow, I tried to get help and just haven't found it. I tried to give it away in 2022. My solution to grow, seaweeds, because my mom was dying of cancer. I found that out, so I just gave it away. 2024, I thought up some more ideas, but the basic solution was there. I tried to give it away again. The Citizens Climate Lobby. I talked to this one company, told the head of the company about my solution, and told them to, instead of taking seaweed and depositing in oceans where you need like a trillion, 3 trillion tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere now. Where did it all go? We only have 1.5 trillion tons in the atmosphere. Well, the rest of the seaweed the rest of the CO2 concentrate is in the ocean. It's in the ocean. So we need to get that fucking out. We need to take out, out of the atmosphere, like 200 billion tons a year. But it's really out of the ocean where you're going to stop the coral reefs from getting acidification. And you just, take it out. But I can't get help. The guy at CCL, I told him, do it. With the hopes of being able to do some research on stuff. But I didn't care. If I figured that, possibly I'd get money for doing R&D on it later. But I'd work on the R&D through, the grants. And I can't get a grant. So, I don't know. But I just gave it away. And I tried with CCL, and the guy laughed at me. The guy, agreed it should work. Said that he wasn't into all of the stuff that I was doing, and he wasn't about to do it all. I'm trying. I told a friend about it, playing World of Tanks. They couldn't even walk over to Boulder, Colorado to, get some shit done, get a project going, get this fucking stuff done, so you can end the problem of global warming, so more species do not go extinct. Then I had another guy in World of Tanks, and I told him, you have $18 million. This is a $10 billion project. If you could get it going, great. You could run it and possibly help me with some, I needed some R&D stuff done. But just do it. And he's not going to do it. He got all pissed off at me and started yelling at me. This is not an easy task. Ending the problem of global warming is not an easy task with all the bullshit about it. I don't know what the problem is. Christianity. Look at, God takes care of the weather, people say. Then why does he wipe out people? Why does storms, tornadoes, why do they wipe out people? And what did God say to do about that? He said to subdue the earth. At least I think that's what he meant. We're not, God, according to Genesis, we're not taking care of the animals. We're letting them all die off. Birds flying through the sky. We've severely diminished birds. Fish in the water. With ocean acidification, it's getting rid of all the fish. The coral reefs are dying. There's actually 1 trillion fish that, we lost. I guess not 1 trillion. I don't know. It might be 1 trillion. It might be, I think it was 1 trillion that live off of the Florida Reef. I think it was 1.5 trillion. I might be wrong on that figure. That's just amazing to me. And coral reefs are gonna die off again. Now, I've tried to be nice. I've tried to give this away. I try to get people to do it, but nobody's doing it. I don't know why. Why are people such selfish pieces of shit? Just absolute selfish pieces of shit. Got me. But yeah, I did all, I tried to get help, and hopefully I'll get help soon. Now I've got 3 pages listed. I'm going to put the 4th on a plea, which goes over the different aspects of it. I've got a 5th that will go over my water crab religion. That'll get put up soon. And I've got a 6th page, and hopefully I'll get some help. I'd even get help from the Muslims. Muslims say be warriors for the earth. This would be warriors for God to get the environmental stuff done. But I don't know. I mean, from what I hear, Muslims are just not the way to go, because they want to kill the Jews and they want to kill the Christians. How do I separate that? Now, if they change religions, maybe come up with the water crab, and but to say that you're a Muslim, and I don't know about CCL. All they've done is spew more, give the world an area to spew more things up into the atmosphere. I told them about the cement factory in Portland, how they're claiming to have, to get 3 billion tons out of the atmosphere, and it's a joke. They need one, canister with 100% oxygen. But since it's an energy corporation that supplies them, I think they got their money through that, or some other way of saying, here, I'll give you this and you give me that. That's not why Title V of the Clean Air Act was enacted, you fucking sons of bitches. You know, the you know I'm sorry, I gotta think of 7 animals per person per second. The amount of animals that died during my lifetime. 7 animals per person per second. That's what the extinction event did. And that's what I'm trying to reverse. I'd like to be able to reverse it. You goddamn pieces of shit. Sorry. I'm just a little annoyed at the Citizens Climate Lobby and the lack of attention and the lack of help, and stating that you know um um stating that I don't care. And you know, you guys are the dumbasses. You guys are the assholes, the murderers. I haven't met a single person who's not into you know taking their clothes and washing them and knowing that since they're 100% cotton, that they won't leave things in the water supply that will get into other people's brains. Um, the water crab, water crab larvae are in the ocean and they're dying. They're dying. Their larvae can't find ways to to tell direction. Um, it's crazy. Uh, anyhow, I think I'll go on to this another way another time. This is part 1, and I will get more into it. climatesolution.weebly.com, and that has all my stuff on it. Check me out. We need this stuff done, and it's not getting done.